Okay. There we go. Boom. Bing, bang, boom. Bing, bang, boom. So they put this on so it's like authentic to the show. I keep forgetting to put this on. Yoink. Yaga. Yaga. Damn. The more I think about it, I don't think this is actually technically a beanie. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong, but do beanies have like tie tassels or fastens, whatever these are called? I don't know. But I'm hella late. Let's see. Who's gonna roll in first? I bet it's gonna be Josiah. If it's not Josiah, it'll probably be Arcus. Spring usually shows up a little later. Although we'll be surprised. Yeah, it's cold. Dude, I love hot tea in the wintertime. Oh, man. Alright. Whoever shows up, announce your presence. Ow. Fuck, it's hot. I put too much sugar in there. Now it just tastes like diabetes. Ugh. Let me do the whole, like... Yo, what is up, Josiah? See, look, I said Josiah was going to be the first person to show up. What is good? Life is going pretty alright. I have a cold. Actually, I learned I had a cold after I fell down the stairs. So that's fun. My job doesn't give you sick days. But gave me an excuse to go to the comic book store, so I can't complain too hard. It's actually funny, one of my customers, they were like, you should go home and you're sick. I was like, I don't get sick days. And they were like, but my health matters, doesn't it? I was like, no, it doesn't. I need money. I need money for comics. Comics. I didn't say that, actually. I'm pretty good at my job. But I did pick these two up, though. This is like Venom Volume 5. 5. By Al Ewing and like Kafu and there's another artist in here. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like the art that wasn't Kafu's in this volume, but and I picked up Ultimate Black Panther #1, which was better than I expected it to be. So, what's up, John Ty? Hello, my friend. How you doing? Narrator. He's terrible at his job. I imagine that's like the white thought caption from Deadpool. Like the video game. That's a game I really want to play with you guys. I just have to be like super careful now with gaming because apparently you can get warnings when you're just playing the game. This can happen weeks after you've already started like streaming or doing like, you know, a bunch of like parts, and they're like, hey, we're just letting you know you could get your channel shut down for this. This isn't a strike, but this could happen. So if you notice, like all the Spider-Man parts have been taken down, that's because like I got a warning like 2 episodes, and I was like, oh, just take them down. So I'm gonna stream Spider-Man again for you guys at some point, but I'm probably gonna like try to stream the entire game over like the course of a whole day. Which I might do on Monday. either Sunday or Monday. But that's like one of the reasons why I took them all down. I'm also just gonna redo it because you can't hear the game at all in like the first like 4 parts. I didn't realize that until like I went back and tried to pull clips for like one of those like game compilation things, and like, oh, well, you can hear me, but you can't hear the game. But yeah, that's coming on Monday probably. But in the meantime, what did y'all read this week? I didn't read a lot, only because I'm trying to save money. Because we got the Katsucon coming up, so I'm trying to, get my costume ready for that. But in the meantime, I did want to talk about this a little bit. Because I didn't have a lot of I don't want to say hope going into this book. It's more like my expectations were kind of in the ground. I'm not the biggest fan of Brian Hill. I mean, as a person, I'm sure he's really cool, but a lot of his comics haven't really done it for me. But I don't know. This is Brian Hill sort of getting to stretch his legs and do his own thing with Black Panther, and he's working with how do you pronounce this guy's name? Caselli. Where are you? Where are the credits? They put it in the back. It's so annoying. If it's not in the back, they put him in the front, but not the exact front. It's just so frustrating. Let's see. Stefano Caselli. With David Curiel as the colors. Oh, sweet. Yeah, the colors are pretty good in this too. But yeah, I had no expectations going into this. Sorry. And what I kind of walked away with was that okay, that's good. But what I walked away with was that this definitely lives up to its pitch in being Dune, but set in the Marvel Universe. Because, literally, the beginning of this is just Dune. It's just Dune. They introduced a new sort of a cleric type of order. It's like a matriarchy of clairvoyant witches. They're just the Bene Gesserit. There's a whole thing where Black Panther is plagued with dreams, just like the Malady. It's Dune. But that's cool. I'm down with it. I mean, a lot of my favorite Marvel comics are literally just, hey, let's just rip off this movie and and put Marvel characters in it. The Brood are literally just xenomorphs. That issue of X-Men where Kitty Pryde is stuck in the mansion and she's being chased by one of the Brood. It's just the first alien. I don't. What can I say? A lot of my favorite Marvel comics are just rip-offs of popular movies of the day, but no, this was really good. I'm interested to see where it goes, because Ryan Everhill is tying in all of the stuff from not just the Black Panther mythology, but also a lot of the Pan-African mythology that's in Marvel already, specifically Khonshu and the Egyptian gods. So I'm very interested to see an altercation between Moon Knight, or at the very least, like the Order of Moon Knights, and Black Panther. That seems really interesting to me. So I'm down, man. I'm down. First issue was way better than I expected. It was really interesting. I do feel like the ending of issue 1 was a bit, I don't know, like, maybe he needed a couple more pages, because it sort of just ends, and it's like, Wakanda has to go to war with the Moon Knights, and it's like, I don't know, there's no like real setup to that, but oh well. Maybe I'll feel differently when I read it again, but yeah, the ending of issue 1 did feel a bit rushed, but outside of that, I really enjoyed it. Definitely, if you like Dune, if you like Black Panther, if you want to see those two flavors swirled together and make a baby, definitely check out Ultimate Black Panther #1. Random question: do you like Blink-182? Yeah. There are Blink-182 songs that I like. I haven't like actively listened to Blink-182 since I was in like high school, but yeah, I do like Blink-182. I remember liking Blink-182. John Ty says, I haven't read this week's new books because I like to read comics a week behind. That's smart. Ultimate Black Panther Black Edition. More like Dune Black Edition. Old Man Logan is just Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. It absolutely is. From what I'm told, I actually haven't really... I've never seen Unforgiven. It's one of those things where I've seen a bunch of clips on YouTube, so I more or less know what Unforgiven's about, but I haven't like actually sat down and watched the movie. Supreme says, "Oh, what's up, Supreme? Hello. I just watched both Mystery Men, Unbreakable. Oddly enough, both films would have done better if they were released today." Yes, I almost forgot what Mystery Men was, but that absolutely would have done better if it was released today. Give me 1 second. Oh, sorry. But yeah, no, Mystery Men. That's like a movie that I think would have, it would have benefited greatly from being in this climate, where superheroes are like so overexposed. It's kind of like crazy to think that a lot of superhero stuff was being parodied like 15, 20 years ago, when I guess relative to now, we weren't getting that much cape shit in like external media outside of comics. But yeah, something like that definitely would have worked better today. I don't know about Unbreakable. I think Unbreakable just works as a movie. Like it's playing off the trappings of superhero comics, but it's not really a superhero movie per se. Yeah, what's up, Justice? How you doing? What have you read this week? Putting you on the spot. 16 Cent says, Black Panther gritty reboot, vigilante of a war-torn Africa, directed by Christopher Nolan. Black Panther, the white man's bird. Oh man. Isn't that like basically what the current Black Panther book is, though? Like, I didn't read anything beyond the first issue, but it basically just felt like on the mean streets of Wakanda, which completely flies in the face of everything we know about Wakanda, but on the mean streets of Wakanda, Black Panther fights crime, even though there's no crime in Wakanda, but Black Panther fights crime in Wakanda. I have no idea what's going on in that book right now. I read the first issue and that was enough for me. But in terms of comics, I've been rereading Jeff Smith's Bone. Oh, sweet. Dude, I haven't read that in a while. Let me see how many volumes that there are. I might add that to my reading list. Wait, Bone is banned? What the fuck? Oh, Bone was almost banned. Okay, that's fucking stupid. How many volumes? Oh, it's just 9 volumes. Huh. Let me try to knock that out. Yeah. Let's see. Blink 182, Stacy's Mom's Got It Going On. That song is fire. I love it so much. I'd sing it if YouTube wasn't gonna like completely dick me, but like that music video was also like, bro, what were they on? What were they on? They were on MILFs.com, that's what they were on, but like, you know. to go like absolute like goon mode on a whole song. The Mad Lads. Absolute Mad Lads. Do you think comic book fans are more impatient nowadays? They want all the mysteries of a run to be solved from the first couple of issues. Yes, but I think that is the result of the graphic novel, or like writing and drawing comics for the graphic novel method that has sort of plagued the industry these past like 25-ish years. People don't really read comics like this anymore. They read comics like this now. They want the full 6-issue arc like right then and there. That's why you have so many people like trade wait nowadays, because they don't want to do the month-to-month grind of, well, this is happening, and then I gotta wait next month to see what happens next. They want that instant gratification. And it's not just the pacing for the trade method. There's also, you know, technology plays a major role in the way in which like the cultural consciousness is just shifted away from delayed gratification to instant gratification. But yeah, people nowadays are just impatient. It's not a comics thing. It's just in general, people are impatient. I don't want to know what happens to Batman in 6 months. I want to know what happens now. Pull his pants down. Bring me that Talia al Ghul bait. Did you buy the second issue of Avengers Twilight? I did. I really enjoy it so far. I feel like the big twist might have been revealed super early, But I also don't know how many issues this is supposed to be. Like, if it's 4 issues, alright, well, that's it's fine. But, like, if there's, like, 6 or 7 issues, like, Marvel miniseries are traditionally, then, like... Okay. But no, I enjoyed the book so far. I like how Chip Zdarsky and Daniel Cunha are sort of, well, not sort of, they're just straight up doing Dark Knight Returns with the Avengers. I think that's really interesting. But it's also sort of weird because you can sort of like pinpoint when everything sort of went to shit. Like, this feels like a very classic, traditional Avengers. It doesn't feel like this doesn't feel like an Avengers that went through Disassembled and the New Avengers and the Hickman era stuff. Like, this feels like this feels like the classic, like, 80s, 90s Avengers. I don't know. That's something sort of weird to me. But it's interesting that, like, that's like the starting point, and that's where the dimensional branch happens. I also really like James Stark. I think he's like a really interesting character so far. He has like all the brilliance and some of the cowardice of his father. And he also has like that snotty sort of like that the Wasp has. God, I don't like the Wasp at all. But you know, he's definitely the child of Janet Van Dyne and Tony Stark. And that speech that Jarvis gives to the president is just, it's really good. Chip Zdarsky knows what he's doing with that book. I'm excited to see where the rest of the series goes. Reading all this Avengers stuff, or like at least the standalone graphic novel stuff that I have read, between like this and Rage of Ultron, and even like the Earth's Mightiest Heroes like series, by like I think Joe Casey did this one. Did he? This is Joe Casey. Yeah, this is a Joe Casey book, and with Scott Collins. Yeah, it's definitely Scott Collins artwork. Like, look at that. I have to review this book at some point too. This is really good too. But like reading all of this and reading Earth X, it really makes me want to go back and read a lot of old classic Avengers stuff. The problem is, I've tried to read old classic Avengers stuff, and it doesn't resonate with me. I can't do it. Every time I try, I just get like really bored, and I want to leave. But it informs so much of what I like about like the Marvel deconstruction stuff. But I don't know. I'll get to it someday. Venom gritty reboot. Some ex-reporter turned criminal gets revenge on his tormentors who ruined his life. Directed by Josh Trank. That just sounds like Upgrade with extra steps. Wink 182. Acts like he's in middle school, but he's 23. What's my age again? That hits real hard because I know some people who fit that description. Myself included sometimes, to be fair. But Supreme Omega says, looking at both the Hays Code and Comics Code, you would think both film and comics would have been protected under the First Amendment, but apparently not. I mean, America is built on a lot of there's a lot of that throughout American history. It's like that seems illegal, and it really kind of depends on whose campaign has the most lobbyists. That's really what a lot of that boils down to. Supreme says, would a reboot be bad for Marvel? I know reboots scare Marvel fans because of how DC tends to fuck it up. But do you feel a good, well-planned reboot can be beneficial for Marvel? At one point, I would have said yes. If anything, I think the Ultimate Universe could have been an amazing point to reboot the Marvel Universe. I mean, hell, I think the Heroes Reborn universe, which is like a proto-Ultimate Universe, that was a really cool, like, potential reboot, like, for the Marvel Universe. Not everything got rebooted, but, you know, still. Nowadays, I would not be confident in a Marvel Universe reboot. Mainly because it would just be a Dollar General MCU. There would be no real interesting creative ideas. There wouldn't really be any cool radical reinventions. Like you wouldn't get anything as like cool or heartbreaking as when Captain America visits Bucky for the first time in like 60 years. And he's like an old man and he's dying of lung cancer. You wouldn't see that. You just get like another iteration of Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' Winter Soldier story. But not as interesting. The returns would continue to diminish. Like there's the original comic, and then there's the Earth's Mightiest Heroes rendition, which I think is a really good adaptation. And then there's the movie, which I think is, you know, it's good for an MCU movie, but like, yeah. And then it would just, it wouldn't be as good. You wouldn't get cool stuff like, Spider-Man being more or less, the first super soldier experiment gone right since Captain America. You wouldn't get like a cool off the wall crazy reveal of A, Nick Fury being a black man and more or less just being Samuel Jackson, but B, the twist of Nick Fury not really being like like an up and up, like morally altruistic guy, even though he's a little rugged. He just turns out to be Shaft mixed with shit, what's the guy's name? I make this joke all the time. How did I forget his name? He's the dude who's like, power is the greatest aphrodisiac. He's like the most, like one of those evil men throughout like the 20th century. What's his name? Henry Kissinger. So like you wouldn't get that. You wouldn't get cool stuff like that. It would just be, it would be like a boring version of the MCU. So no, I don't think Marvel rebooting now would be cool. But you know what? Give it like another like 20 years. Give it another 20 years. And we'll see if Marvel can get over their like fear of reboots and what a Marvel reboot will look like in that time. Let's see. Superman gritty reboot. Southern Hick trying to find himself in crime-infested metropolis, only become the greatest hope, directed by Michael Bay, written by David Goyer. Aside from being the Southern Hick part, that's almost exactly what I want from Superman. That's almost exact. Like, that just sounds like Grant Morrison and Rags Morales' Action Comics. Like, straight up. That just sounds like Superman with the t-shirt and jeans with the cape and all. Like, yeah, I'm down with that. That's just what I want out of a Superman movie, though. It's that is by far not what like the general public would want, I would imagine. But dude, give me like a solid like crime story with Superman, bro. Bro, just make it straight up like a golden. Call it Superman: The Golden Age, and it's just like young Clark Kent, like age 22. He's like frustrated that like he's like none of the stories that I'm working on no one cares. The cops are all corrupt. Everything's broken. Metropolis there's no hope in Metropolis. There's a woman I'm investigating. She's being framed. She's gotta die. I gotta act. And he puts on the Grant Morrison t-shirt and jeans costume, and you just get the first 2 issues of Action Comics. I'm down with that. I wouldn't be opposed. Superman busting down the governor's door at like 3 a.m. Gimme, please. Gimme. I want that. That's cool. That sounds dope to me. Directed by Michael Bay, probably not, but I don't know. You know what? People give Michael Bay a lot of shit. He's a really good visualist, though. That doesn't sound like the type of story that Michael Bay would tell, but I'm trying to think who would tell that kind of story with Superman. Maybe like Denis Villeneuve. Maybe. I don't know. Part of me thinks Christopher Nolan might be able to do it, but I feel like Christopher Nolan's like too British to do that. And I feel like a lot of Brits, they have this like very sort of like Virgin Mary, like holier than holy sort of idea of Superman. Like he has to be like the smiling sentinel of the brighter tomorrow, who just sort of passively hovers in the air and smiles. And Superman. I feel like a lot of Brits have that idea of Superman, which is why I think you need like a frustrated American to do like a Golden Age type Superman, or a Scotsman, crazy Scotsman, named Grant Morrison. Blah, blah, blah. Chantai says, with that, do you think making stories like A Nightfall or No Man's Land be doable nowadays? The 1 or 2 year long story arc. I mean, we still get it sometimes, but the internet does make a lot of these status quos unbearable. That's why like it might be a good idea to just like not pay attention to the internet when reading these like long form stories. Like Grayson, for example. That's a long form story that a lot of people, myself included, at the time it was coming out, were like, "This is awful. Just put Dick back in his tights. I want to see Dick Grayson as Nightwing again." This whole Grayson thing is stupid. But apparently it's like one of the best comics to come out of DC in like 15 years. I genuinely like the Aaron Cooter and Greg Pak Powerless era for Superman, because I already knew, like, we all knew he was going to get his powers back. But it was cool seeing him taken back to his Golden Age roots where he was a man of the people. I thought it was really sort of interesting how, in a way, under that status quo, he was more akin to what Siegel and Schuster were originally going for with Superman. So that's like really interesting. I mean, everyone else at the time, like, like Comic Pop, Comic Story, and all these guys were like, that's just stupid. Superman, he's got no powers. He's leaping tall buildings a single bound. He's getting in fights with the cops. This is dumb. This isn't Superman. And that's fair. That's totally fair. But it's a long game, But I feel like people aren't really there for the long game. And I think DC, in particular, has that problem. Because I think when it comes to DC in particular, there's this... How do I describe it? I feel like a lot of people, when they think of, the best DC comics, they're all, self-contained stories. Superman, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, self-contained story. All-Star Superman, self-contained story. Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One, Long Halloween. What else is on the bookshelf? Aquaman Andromeda. I know there's more. I just can't think of them right now. But when a lot of people think of DC, they think of these self-contained epics. So having to sit through issue to issue, I think a lot of people just can't do it. With Marvel, Marvel has a history of the soap opera. Every Marvel comic you read is part of a longer overarching story. So I think there's more patience with Marvel there, but because DC over the past 30-40 years has really leaned into the graphic novel format, I think there's less patience when it comes to long form storytelling with DC. But I think people have that with Marvel as well. And I think trying to do a Nightfall or a No Man's Land, that's gonna be a little difficult now. But that's not to say that people aren't trying. It's not to say people aren't doing it. Superior Iron Man came out 6 or 7 years ago now. That wasn't a story. That was just the status quo of Iron Man for 30 issues. Superior Spider-Man, that lasted over 2 years. What else? What else was there? Time Runs Out. The Incursions. That happened again over the course of I saw 3 years. I can't think. It's not the Heroic Age. It's the age just before the Heroic Age. That weird period between Civil War and Siege, just before the Registration Act was lifted. That's a 4-year period where all superheroes are just vigilantes. they're just in hiding, and Iron Man's just in his helicarrier, that one, get that one, get that one. You're under arrest. I'm a fascist now. So that lasted a while. So I mean, we still do story arcs like that, or not really arcs. We still do massive, just status quos like that still. Supreme says, does the late 90s Bisek Perez Avengers run bore you? I like what I've read of it. The problem is it's just not collected all that well, and I am not buying an omnibus. I don't like reading in omnibus form already, and I have I have more omnibuy on this bookshelf than I desire. I have Grant Morrison's Batman run in omnibus form. Not that I want it in omnibus form, but that's just the only way I was going to get it. I got the John Byrne Superman in omnibus form. I don't like it, but that's the only way I was going to get it. I have a couple more things in omnibus. Let me see. I know I have the first volume of the Fantastic Four, like Silver Age Fantastic Four. I have that first omnibus. I'd rather get that in a complete collection, or like in the Epic collection, much rather. But you know, I already got it. So I don't know. If that's the only way I can get the Perez and Busiek Avengers, I'll do it, but I'd rather not. But again, I've liked what I've read of their run. Like I really enjoyed Ultron Unlimited. That's really good. In fact, I have that on my bookshelf right here. So you know, this is really good. I also really enjoy Avengers Forever, which is right next to it, which technically isn't like Perez, but you know, that's, from what I imagine, that's the end of the Busiek run. I think that's what caps it off. But yeah, there's stuff in there that I like. I just wish Marvel would like collect it better. Classic Marvel Avengers writers, how can I make this age as horribly as possible? You know what? That's not an Avengers problem, though. That's just a Marvel thing in general. Marvel's always like, we got to be in the now. That's why we got to have Peter Parker making references to, like TV shows that are happening like right now, in 1982. No one's gonna get that reference. 7-year-old Beanie's not gonna get that reference when he gets like Death of Jean DeWolf. There's and he like calls back to like some crime show that came out in that year. And I don't know what that means, but whatever. Or how Bendis references like TiVo like 3 times in Ultimate Spider-Man. Do you remember TiVo? I do. It was relevant for like 2 minutes. But yeah, that's just a Marvel tradition. We got to do what's now. We got to stick to the current day of 1999. That's how we stay relevant, baby. 1610 Man says, Plastic Man, gritty reboot. John Carpenter's The Thing, directed by David Fincher, written by Sam Raimi. That actually sounds like a banger. That sounds like a certified banger, though. You might be joking there, but that you can't make joke pitches that sound fun. You can't, because now I want it. This is one of the reasons why I'm apprehensive of reading the Stan and Jack Fantastic Four. You know, a lot of that actually reads. It's not super dated. I mean, it is super dated, but like it's not like when you're reading like 70s comics and you can tell a bunch of like 20-year-old kids are like, no, man, we gotta be like in the real, like in the now. We have to make references to like the anti-war movement like right now, and the whole book just feels like completely dated. But it doesn't feel dated in that sense. It's more so just dated in like the technique of writing comics in that era. Like you'll have Mr. Fantastic like stretch and he'll like catch a missile, and he'll say, I'm stretching my arm and I'm catching this missile. It's like, yeah, I see that. that's really what you get in a lot of like those old 60s Fantastic Four issues. It's a lot like Spider-Man. You know how like Peter would be like making web constructs, and he's like in the Florida Keys, and he's like, I have to make these web rafts, and I have to boat my way through the Florida Keys to find the lizard. And yes, Steve did a good job illustrating that. You don't have to fucking spell it out for me, Stan. That's more so what you see when you read old Fantastic Four comics. It's not like terribly dated, like pop culture wise. John says, when did the trend of writing for the trade happen? Was it Bendis that started it? It's not Bendis in particular. It's really Joe Quesada. This was like part of the initiative that Joe started when he like saved Marvel. Like people tend to forget that. Like people give Joe Quesada a lot of shit for like One More Day, but you know, law of averages. You know, just weighing the pros and cons. I still would consider Joe Quesada to be like one of Marvel's like best editors, but that's just me. But yeah, the whole method of pacing for the trade that started with Joe Quesada. His whole thing was to really pimp out Marvel's trade paperback collections, because he wanted these books to be available in bookstores. Like he wanted them to be like more readily available in libraries, and like, you know, he wanted these things to have like more of like an instant access, so you could get like an easily digestible story that's like 6 issues, and you feel like you've read like a movie essentially. It was also good because that's when Marvel was selling off all their film rights, and you had to have like a trade paperback or two on set, so you'd have, you know, producers or whatever flipping through the books and going like, oh, we could adapt this, we could adapt that. You got like the consultation committee working on those movies too. So like that's really when we started seeing trade paperbacks. During like the beginning of the Joe Quesada era, and when like Marvel was trying to like, you know, really get their film studio off the ground, which wouldn't happen for like another 8 years, but you know, still. Have you played Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? No. And I don't want to. I mean, honestly, the game, like, technically looks really good. I think, like, Metropolis looks beautiful. I love, like, the enemy types. They look really cool. I love the design of the squad. I think they look cool. I like the design of the Justice League, for the most part. I think their Wonder Woman, like the design for Wonder Woman looks, it grew on me. I don't like a heavily armored Wonder Woman personally, but the face model looks really good. I saw people were calling her ugly, and I don't get that. What? I don't know who the motion capture actress is, but like, she is gorgeous. Like, that's all right, but but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it should have been a Justice League game. Like, why do we have to live in the timeline where the last honest attempt at adapting the Justice League, not aimed entirely at children, is Zack Snyder's Justice League, which came out in like 2017? I mean, the director's cut came out in like 2021 or 2022, but like still, that's just the same movie that would have come out in 2017. the last time anyone tried to like make a cool Justice League thing is like 5 years ago. What? Come the like, come on, man. Come on. And everything that like I've seen about the game, it screams like, why wasn't this the Justice League? Like a team of, well, on paper, like diverse heroes where they play radically differently. So you have like a nimble acrobat, you have a tank, you have a speedster, and you have a sharpshooter. Okay. Flash, Batman, Green Lantern, Superman. Why was that not a video game? It's already there. It's already there. You could add more characters. Brainiac's invading. You have to go to like other Earths and defeat Brainiac. You recruit people to join your cause. Why was this not a Justice League game? Who is this for? Like, what DC fan is gonna want this? Hey guys, we have an open world DC game, the first open world Justice League, the first open world game set in Metropolis since Lego DC, like supervillains, like Beyond Gotham or whatever, like that came out how long ago? This is the first time you get to play in an open world Metropolis since like that game, like over a decade ago. And you get to kill all your favorite heroes. Hooray! Yay! Like, who's asleep behind a wheel at DC? Like, what are you thinking, Blood? The bumbleclot. What's going on in your mind, What? Oh, man. I don't know. Not for me. I'm not the target demographic. Although I don't know who is. I mean, I guess I do. Like, people who like The Boys, probably. But, like, no. Should have been a Justice League game. Supreme says, at least in my view, the problem with Marvel 616 continuity right now is that 60 years of canon can be a burden. A mess of convoluted retcons and resurrections that make it hard to move characters forward. I see where you're coming from there, but I do disagree in the sense that I think you can make that continuity work. And the two things I'll always point to is Batman by Grant Morrison and Daredevil by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. Like, those two books, or those two runs are building off of the foundations of pre-established continuity really hard. Like, Grant Morrison's Batman is like, really specifically, it's going back to like a lot of that like 60s stuff. But it's also like building off a lot of like the Dennis O'Neil material from like the 70s with Ra's al Ghul. And also it's building off of like the Demon trilogy, which is big throughout like the 80s into like the early 90s, I think. It's building off of No Man's Land. This is the post No Man's Land Batman. It's a post War Games Batman. Like, I don't know. Like, I think continuity works really well if you actually like sit down and utilize it. I think running away from continuity is where you run into problems and create more problems. But no, I think heavy continuity can be like really interesting and fun. Like there's a really cool bit in the Bendis and Malieve Daredevil where I think it's been like so long since I read this that run, but just after the mob guy, I think like Sammy Silk, just after Sammy Silk kills the Kingpin, and then Vanessa is just hunting down and like having everyone involved with Wilson Fisk's attempted assassination, just like he goes to the FBI and he's like, "Hey, I know who Daredevil is. It's Matt Murdock." And the FBI are like, "That's stupid, but let's track it. You know, let's give it a shot." And they start like putting the pieces together, and there's a whole issue where they're looking at like the events of Frank Miller's run, where like Elektra goes to like Matt Murdock's doorstep, and this happens directly after Bullseye stabs Elektra, and they're looking at like the incident report where Matt is talking about how he can like feel the world around him, like he can't see but he can see, like he sees everything with like sonar, and he's like complaining about how he can see noise. You have that whole thing where they're piecing together like all the stuff from like Fall from Grace, like that's when continuity is really fun, you know? Like it's, I don't know, man, I think continuity works really well when you know what you're doing with it. You just need someone who's like very passionate about that material to make it work. 1610 says, during Marvel's Heroes Reborn, Heroes Return, does kind of feel like a soft reboot for the Earth 616 with its modernizations until the next soft reboot, which is Marvel Now. Yeah. Although that wasn't really a reboot. That was more like a relaunch. Marvel's always. I mean, I get into this like argument. Not really an argument. Like it's like a debate I have with my buddy Troy Allen over at Previous World, which, by the way, he's got a comic coming out. Definitely follow him if you aren't already, because like the books I've read from him are like really good so far. But what was I talking about? Oh, right. So Troy and I have this debate all the time about the Marvel Universe not really being iconic. And he's like, no, they are. Like there are iconic status quos within the Marvel Universe, but I disagree. I think Marvel is such... It's such an organic sort of... It's like a worm of continuity. Like there's always story happening. Like you go back and like you read like classic DC, there's always gonna be like, you know, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Like the world around them might be a little different, but like it's always gonna be like the iconic like DC heroes. But you go back to like any given point in like Marvel, Spider-Man will have like a black suit, and Thor is like not Thor. Hank Pym is God knows what alias he's going under. Iron Man is wearing armor model 9,000,000. The Avengers lineup, it will almost always consist of Hawkeye, Vision, and Scarlet Witch, but everyone else will be just... Who knows? The X-Men will maybe be at the mansion, or they may be in the Australian outback, or they're like maybe on Asteroid M. Who knows? Like, like there's no real like iconography to the Marvel universe. like everything is in like a constant like ebb and flow. So when you get to like, you know, stuff like All New, All Different, or like Marvel Now, I really feel like that's just an extension of the Marvel Universe just being in a perpetual state of chaos. And I think that's what worked for the Marvel Universe. Let's see. 1610 says Spider-Man gritty reboot, kick-ass, directed by Matthew Vaughn and Mark Miller. I mean, Mark Miller did a Spider-Man book. It's called like Marvel Knight Spider-Man. It's really good. But I mean, I'd be down for that. Like Spider-Man Max. Hell yeah. Have you read Supreme Power by J. Michael Straczynski? I have. In fact, I have it on my bookshelf right up there. I have the whole thing right here. I have all of it. Now I haven't read it since I was a kid, but I have all of it. I was glad I found it. But I remember liking it a lot. I remember being confused by it. Because I was like, this is the Justice League, but not. Like, I didn't get it as a kid. I thought it was just like another superhero deconstruction thing. Because there's a lot of those in like the 2000s. Like, everyone wanted to have their version of Watchmen, but shit, man, yeah, I'm that might be another read. I mean, I just finished this. The only thing I have left after this is Secret Wars to read. So, shit, man, yeah, I might check out Supreme Power. Well, no, hold on a second. I want to finish reading Weapon X before I like do that. But, yeah, I can go back to some of that stuff. Yeah, I remember liking that a lot. Jontai says, as I always say, going back to the Golden Age Superman characterization, storylines will make non-fans of Superman be fans of the character. Yes, it will. I don't know why DC doesn't lean into that. I'm gonna be that prick. It's pronounced Denis Villeneuve. What'd I say? Denis Villeneuve? Something like that? I don't know. I'm an American. But like, Denis Villeneuve? Okay. Or Villeneuve. No, it's Denis Villeneuve. Okay. I'll remember that for next time. It's kind of like J.M. DeMatteis. He used to call it, like, pronounce his name like DeMatteis until he ran into someone from, like, his motherland. It's always a funny story, too. Supreme says, even though I'm a post-crisis DC fan, I have been more critical of DC Rebirth and its Force Awakens of DC relaunches. It absolutely was. Like, make no mistake about it, DC Rebirth was definitely just the Force Awakens of comic book relaunches. And it's kind of sad. I remember, like, it's super effective back when they used to do comic book videos. In fact, what are they doing now? What is It's Super Effective doing right now? Is this you? Is this you? No, I don't think so. Is it? No, that's not. Did they get rid of the whole channel? No! No! It's super effective. Doesn't exist anymore. No! Oh, man. Oh, that sucks so bad. I used to love their channel. No, man. Oh, god damn it. We can't have nothing in the hood. Damn. I'm sad now. But I remember It's Super Effective did a whole video sort of saying exactly that about DC Rebirth. Like, this is just sort of mindlessly throwing nostalgia jizz in your face, going like, do you remember Post-Crisis Superman? Do you remember the Teen Titans? Please read our comics again. That's literally what it was. And it worked. It worked on me. It worked on, everybody, really. But I mean, yeah, like in hindsight, that's all it was. It was just nostalgia bait. I mean, in some cases it worked really well. Like narratively, like it worked really well. Like I think in the case of Green Arrow Rebirth, that's a really good series. Like, I think Green Arrow Rebirth is just one of those books that you can just hand anyone who doesn't know jack shit about Green Arrow. You just go like, hey, do you want to read Green Arrow? This is Green Arrow. This is just quintessential Green Arrow. These 6 volumes. That's all you need. And it works really well. There's also, like, I like Deathstroke Rebirth a lot. I know Dylan from the Rokomoba Gamer doesn't like it a lot at all, but, like, I don't know. I thought it was fun. I thought it was good. I liked how Slade was depicted as, like, a sociopathic anti-hero. I thought he was really good there. Wonder Woman Rebirth I thought was, like, fine. It was more so just, like, picking up the pieces after I think, like, David and Meredith Finch were working on Wonder Woman after Brian Azzarello, and I feel like they sort of, like, tanked the book. I mean, I like them as, like, creators, but that book was not good for them. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There were stuff here and there that was good, but for the most part, like, you did get stuff like Superman Rebirth, which it makes absolutely no sense continuity wise. It sort of breaks continuity real bad, if you, like, think about it for more than, like, 2 seconds. But I don't know. It worked at the time. It's what DC needed at the time. I'll say that. Give me 1 second. Let's see. 1610 says Wonder Woman gritty reboot. The Laura Croft of Greek mythology set in the 2000s during the War on Terror, directed by James Mangold, written by Gail Simone. Isn't that basically what the Joss Whedon Wonder Woman was? That script's not good, by the way. Just throwing it out there. It's not one of Joss Whedon's better adventures. I'll say that much. Justice says, what do you think about the current state of Red Hood Jason Todd comics? I mean, I did a video a while back. Let me see if I can find it. It was like Red Hood makes no sense or something like that. Um, crap, where are you? It's not that far back, is it? Okay. Yeah, it was like, why does Jason Todd still go by Red Hood? Um, I still stand by that. I don't. Okay. Jason Todd has already forgiven Bruce Wayne. Like that. Like they have like an uneasy, like sort of awkward relationship, but Jason's already forgiven Bruce. The whole Red Hood persona is just Jason trying to dig the knife into Bruce's gut and like twist it. That's just what he's doing. It's like a big middle finger to Batman. But like once that relationship like mended over, there's no real reason for Jason to be Red Hood anymore. Like he should pick a new identity. I don't know why he doesn't pick a new identity. I mean, I know why. Like in the real world, it's because Red Hood is like a major money milking franchise. But like narratively, it doesn't make sense for Jason to be Red Hood anymore. So like whenever I see him, I just sort of cringe and I just ignore it because it doesn't make sense. Why is he still the Red Hood? It's dumb. It's dumb. I don't know. I know he's playing a big part in the current run on Batman by Chip Zdarsky, but it's still just, why is he Red Hood? Why is he Red? No, don't get me started. Supreme says, I've surprised you are less critical of Marvel's being all Silver Age nostalgia than Kingdom Come. Let's be honest. Kurt Busiek is a Silver Age fanboy because he is a Peter Gwen chipper and prefers the original 5 X-Men. I mean, I'm sure he is, but I mean, I haven't read the Kurt Busiek Avengers stuff all that much. I mean, I know he is like a Silver Age fanboy. Like I know he's sort of in that same league as like Alex Ross and Mark Waid, where they're like superhero comics died in the 70s, and we just got to keep going back to the good old days. I know he's part of that that troop, but I don't know. I just haven't read a lot of his Marvel stuff, to be frank. Like I've read his Iron Man, and I read Avengers Forever. Although Avengers Forever is like a celebration of like the entire history of the Avengers up to that point. And I also haven't read Thunderbolts. Like I know a lot about the Thunderbolts, but I haven't read Thunderbolts. But even that, from what I understand, isn't like all that like Silver Age pandery. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Marvel's not really all that like super nostalgic for their eras. You'll get a mini-series here or there that take place in a specific era of Marvel history, but I don't know. They're always like doing weird, interesting stuff. Then I don't know. It's just not the same as when like a lot of writers or artists do it with DC. When like people do it with DC, it feels like they're trying to say something like, "Oh, this is when comics were comics and everything was ruined because Frank Miller and Alan Moore broke it." But like, I don't really get that vibe from a lot of like the classic Marvel wank. I don't know. I don't see it. 1610 says, Batman gritty reboot, modern day Sherlock Holmes, directed by Guy Ritchie and written by Ryan Johnson. No, the dark and gritty Batman reboot of the modern day would just be it's the Batman. That's what it is. Your mileage may vary. Juntai says, do you think it's sad that the Silver Age characterization of Superman has co-opted who Superman is nowadays? That the Golden Age characterization conflicts, or the Golden Age characterization and or conflicts for Superman are gone nowadays? Yes. Kind of. It really depends on the writer. Sometimes you'll get someone who just wants Superman to be the, like, Christopher Reeve, passive, like, Starman who's waiting in the sky, who's just, but then sometimes you'll get a writer who, like, has Superman be the guy who, like, rolls up his sleeves and is like, alright, I'm gonna whoop the government's ass. It really depends on the writer. It really does. Like, J. Michael Straczynski did both, for example. You know, like, when you read his like, mainline Superman book, what was that thing called? It was awful, by the way. Like, I love J. Michael Straczynski, but, like, that was just not a win. That was not a dub. I don't know what my man was smoking, but that was just not a dub. Like, Superman telling illegal aliens to contribute to society because the real citizens here are busting their ass and you need to... I shit you not, that is literally what happens in that book. That's just, like, grouchy, like, get off my lawn, I'm the Starman. It's him doing classic Silver Agey patriarchal Superman. But then you read Earth 1, and that's, like, completely different. It's more in line with what Superman was in the Golden Age of comics. With a little bit of the psychology of Silver Age Superman. It's a very interesting take on that character. But it really just depends on the story that the writer and artist want to tell. So I don't know, man. Sometimes you'll get like Grant Morrison does the same thing. Superman in All-Star Superman is a very sort of, like, you know, it's the fuddy-duddy, you know, it's the Silver Age, sort of like the cheese ball. But then he'll put out, like, Action Comics, and this man is... I could see that dude picking up a car and just smashing it into the side of a road just to flex on somebody. Absolutely. So it just depends on the story that anyone wants to tell. I don't know. It really depends. 1610 says Carnage gritty reboot. Basically a Natural Born Killers remake with Carnage's supervillain serial killer family from the Maximum Carnage storyline. You know what? Directed by Quentin Tarantino in a found footage style, he would never do that, but I want to see that. That'd be funny. Supreme says, on the first two X-Men films, you have to admit Singer trying to ban the actors from reading the comics was kind of dumb. As much as people love those films, they feel kind of ashamed of being superhero films. That second one does, more so than the first one. But I rewatched that first one. That first one feels very comic booky to me. I don't know. I like Deadshot in the game. It's also my favorite character. I mean, the game looks like, you know... Here's the other shit about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. like on principle, on concept, I hate it. But goddamn if it doesn't look like a really fun successor to Sunset Overdrive, which was really good and deserved a sequel, but we can't get that because Insomniac's in like a weird legal, like Schrodinger's dickhole with that whole thing. So I'm not sure if we're ever gonna get that, but this looks like the closest thing we'll ever get to Sunset Overdrive 2. It just sucks that we had to sacrifice the Justice League to do it. Bring back movie tie-in games? No, we're good. There were 2 good movie tie-in games for superhero films. 3. There is Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2. There is the Incredible Hulk video game, which is more or less just a reskin of Hulk Ultimate Destruction. And there's Captain America Super Soldier, where, as good as it is, it still needed a bit of polishing. But those are the 3. Those are the 3. There are no other good superhero movie tie-in games. Stop with the tie-in game thing. Although the synergy thing is pretty cool. Like, you know, the Spider-Man PS5 or PS4. Sorry, I got the PS5 in the brain. But like the Insomniac Spider-Man game, that is very clearly like synergized with MCU Spider-Man. So I think despite some of the things that I don't like about it, on like a concept level, gameplay wise, I think that works really well. You know, like Super Tech Bro Spidey, I think it works really, really nicely. So like, you know, there's that. The Avengers game, minus a lot of the live servicey stuff, you know, like it's very clearly inspired by MCU Avengers, which is kind of annoying in some respects, but in other respects where they're just straight up doing comic book stuff, it's pretty fun. And like, you know, trying to like get the. I have more of an appreciation for the Inhumans after reading Earth X. So like that, you know, I don't know. I've softened on the story there a little bit, but yeah, I don't know, like doing synergy style games, like not like necessarily movie tie-ins, but games that are coming out because a superhero movie's coming out, but it's more or less doing its own thing. I think that's pretty cool, you know. Same thing with Batman Arkham Asylum. In fact, the Arkham franchise in general, that starts off as a failed video game tie-in to The Dark Knight. I don't know. It'd be cool to see that with Superman in the near future. Be cool to see that with The Flash if DC ever gets off their ass and wants to make a Flash game. It'd be cool to see another Hulk game. I love the Hulk. I don't know, like it's been proven to be done. You can just do the Hulk. Just fucking do the Hulk. It's not that hard. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what you adapt with the Hulk. Like, I don't know, maybe I mean, at this point, they probably adapt, like, Immortal Hulk. I feel like that's, like, the safe bet for what you choose to adapt if you're doing Hulk. Or Daredevil. Like, if you, like, you know, like, Daredevil Born Again comes out, and, like, a Daredevil game is coming out around that same time period, you don't have to, like, have it tie into the Daredevil show at all. But, you know, it's just, you know, we're loosely... We're mimicking the style and the vibe of MCU Daredevil, but we're like largely doing our own thing, kind of like Insomniac is with Spider-Man, or like Rocksteady did with the Arkham games. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I'd be down if we got more of those. But no movie tie-in games. Please, let's not do that. Juntai says, when Warworld Saga was coming out and some Superman fans argue it was dumb of Superman to leave Earth to fight Mongol in space. Also, the growing impatience of wanting Clark to return. I mean, those people are dumb. I don't know. Whatever. Fuck those people. Warworld Saga is great. It's like the best Superman comic we've gotten like over the past 10 years. Nah, it was dope. Also, Superman leaving Earth unprotected is like a movie thing. That's like a problem that like Christopher Reeve Superman would have, because like there's no other superheroes that live in that universe. That's a problem that like Dean Cain Superman would have, because no other superheroes live in that universe. That's not a problem that like any other Superman has. Like, okay, I gotta go fight this thing in space for like 2 years. Oh no, the Justice League is there. What are they gonna do without me? Martian Manhunter has like the exact same power set, and he can shapeshift. Oh, the horror. Like, we have like 10 superhero billionaires, 5 of which are like basically Iron Man level. Like, what's the planet so undefended? Also, my son is literally Superman. My son is the other Superman. Like, that's silly. Supreme says on DC Rebirth, I feel what rubbed Tynion's Detective Comics the wrong way is it felt like a diet version of the 90s Bat Family. It was full of member berries. I see that problem. That is not a problem I have with it, though. Like, the big thing that I really liked about it was that it just brought them all back, and it was just a team book of the Bat Family. I thought that was what's really cool about it. It's peak Batman with the Bat Family, and they're gonna solve crime. It's just a big ass Bat Family book. I thought that was really dope. Oh, what's up, Tevia? How you doing, bud? Oh, what community? What's up, community? Shame the Bendis Superman was a train wreck. Whew. We're still feeling the effects of that, like, all these years later. 1610 says, Justice League gritty reboot, elite military task force of America's greatest superheroes created to combat threats of supervillain terrorism. That's just the Ultimates. That's literally just the Ultimates. And to an extent, what Jeff Johns tried to do with the Justice League at the beginning of New 52, which I think you can make that concept work. I think you can make it work. They just didn't make it work, but it can work. It definitely can. He says, I mean, how do you make Spider-Man 616 continuity work again? It is a broken mess of clones, Satan, multiverses, Norman Osborn forming another convoluted scheme, etc., etc. You know how you get to work again? You do what J. Michael Straczynski and John Romita Jr. did. You open with Peter Parker, age 30, looking rough as hell, just going like, damn, my life is fucked up. damn, I'm tired. Anyways, moving on. That's what you do. Like, literally, you can do this right now. If you wanted to start, like the next Spider-Man run that picks up with Amazing Spider-Man, you just start it, like, into the Spider-Verse style, where Peter's like, my name is Peter Benjamin Parker. I am 35 years old, and for the last 15 years, or I guess 20 years, I've been Spider-Man. Aunt May married Doc Ock. My girlfriend got cloned. She died, but also had babies. It's weird. I got married. Then I got buried alive. And then my parents came back as clones. Aunt May died, but not really. Then my MJ died, but not really. And then I sold my marriage to the devil. And then clones just kept coming back. And then I was multiverse Jesus for like 5 minutes, and then I wasn't. It's been a crazy couple years. Anyways, moving on. Or just don't acknowledge it. Just go like, whew, man, I'm tired. Anyways, here's Spider-Man. You don't even, you can just clean slate it. Just go like, wow, everything that happened is crazy. Moving on. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Just acknowledge the insanity of the past, like, couple years, and just go like, boom. Is what it is. That's what I would do, at least. 616 or yeah, 1610 Man, Teen Titans gritty reboot, rated R Goonies with sidekicks, directed by Matthew Vaughn, written by Mark Miller. That sounds like it would be like terrifying, but I kind of want to see it. Question: how do you pick Spider-Man continuity to retcon where they have existence? I don't. I just. It all happened, baby. It all happened. Even the stuff I didn't like, it happened. And you just pick up and you move on. Toby says Spencer was gonna try to retcon one more day. Yeah, and that wasn't gonna work. I don't know why he tried to do that, but like Marvel was never gonna go for it. Shazam get a reboot, rated R version of Tom Hanks' Big, with the horror of superpowers and Greek mythology existing in the real world. I mean, that's like also what we got with the Shazam movies, except they weren't rated R. But yeah, shit. Nah. There we go. My problem with Tinian's Detective is rooted in Batman Eternal and Batman and Robin Eternal. At first I was excited at Stephen Cass being brought back into the New 52 world, but the results left a lot to be desired. That's fair. I can't contest with that. That's fair. Sony's Mary Jane gritty reboot. Home Alone with MJ versus Craven family versus the villains when Peter's not home. I don't want to know where that goes, but I think Greta Gerwig could do something fun with it. We tried Golden Age Superman in Modern Era with Superman Truth, which failed badly. I mean, it failed badly, but like it was also just really good. I don't know, like sometimes things that fail at the time are actually really good. People just weren't ready for it yet, and it'd be like that. And Superman Truth is just one of those things where it was just people weren't ready for it. People just were not ready for it yet. The New 52 did not fail badly. DCU failed badly, but the New 52 had a really strong start. They just couldn't maintain that momentum because it wasn't sustainable. Partially because they tried to follow the Marvel method of overprinting like 800 books at the same time, and then do like crossover after crossover, and it doesn't work. It didn't work for Marvel. I don't know why DC thought it was going to work for them too, but it started off really well. It just wasn't sustainable. That was the problem. Hulk gritty reboot, rated R, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but with Hulk lore instead of. You know what? That'd be cool. I really want us to go back to like genre films with superhero films. I had this thought earlier. I think one of the big problems I have with a lot of modern superhero films is that I think the way in which a lot of people approach superheroes now on the silver screen and in Hollywood is that I think a lot of people are like sort of approaching the material with this mindset of, well, it's a comic book, so it's silly, stupid bullshit, so I'm just gonna treat it like it's silly, stupid bullshit, and we're just gonna have fun. But there's no real story, there's no real pathos, there's no real character. When you're doing a superhero story, I think you're missing the point of what makes superhero stories work, in that a lot of them aren't superhero stories. They're stories featuring superheroes, but they're working within different genres. Like, going back to the first X-Men movie, I think that movie's really good because it's not like a superhero movie. It's like a espionage political thriller about a terrorist organization attempting to launch an attack on the United Nations, or the representatives of the United Nations, and this other covert ops team is going to intercept them and stop them. And there's like debate about like, you know, the ethics of like, you know, what we're doing versus what they're doing, and like betraying your own kind and all that. Like it's a really interesting movie. But it's a movie, you know. And like even things that at the time people didn't like, that I think are aging like really good, like Man of Steel. That's not really a superhero movie. That's a science fiction movie with Superman just in it. You know, same thing with Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier's not really a superhero movie. That's a spy espionage thriller with superheroes in it, and it takes place in a superhero universe. I think when we started moving away from telling superhero stories like that on film, and we just started making them like superhero romps, and like they're all just like extended Saturday morning cartoons, that's really when I think superhero films started to like tank. And until we sort of get back to, you know, making genre films featuring superheroes, until we go back to that, I think we're gonna see like continued diminished returns on superhero films, because the quality's just not there. But why did I bring that up? Oh, right, because the Frankenstein thing with yeah, that also reminded me of the Ang Lee Hulk, which is like a psychodrama about a man trying to overcome his abuse and neglect as a child with his father. Like, we don't make superhero movies like that anymore. We really should. They used to be really good. Use the Wayback Machine. Titans Rebirth was amazing. It wasn't for me. What about his Arkham Knight? Jason is Arkham Knight? I mean, it works within the context of that game, but like, I don't know. It wouldn't really work in the context of like just the comics as they are. Harley Quinn Goody reboot. Day in the life of an annoying fangirl of Gotham serial killers who makes cringy edits of Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. That sounds like painfully close to what we're getting with the new Joker movie, which I think could be cool. I'm still excited to see that. Shame Tom Taylor ruined John Kent. We can blame Tom Taylor for a lot of things, but everything wrong with John Kent is not his fault. The character was already pretty broken before that point. Spider-Girl gritty reboot, rated R Incredibles with the Parker family. I mean, that also just sounds like what we're potentially going to get with Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man. Personally, I was never satisfied with 52 Superman's death because I was satisfied with 52 Superman's death because he at least got a send-off, and plus a bonus for New 52 Superboy was gone too. I mean, I kind of like New 52 Superboy. At the very least, I liked him conceptually. I don't think that book was good, but okay. I think the way in which like DC got rid of those characters is indicative of the problem of Rebirth. You just killed them and you replaced them with like time-displaced versions of their iconic counterparts. The problem is, okay, Young Justice Connor doesn't really work in the current day because, first of all, he's already outgrown that status quo. Like the swaggy, like the leather jacket with like the spikes and the graffiti and all, like that's, and like, you know, Kardashian Connor Kent is fun and it's iconic from like the Young Justice era, but Connor grew and developed as a character since then. Like whether you liked it or not, everything from Graduation Day up through the Jeff Johns run on Teen Titans, and then Infinite Crisis, and then coming back from the dead after Infinite Crisis under that Jeff Lemire book where he discovers that he's a clone of Lex Luthor. Like, all that, like, you mean we have to go through all that shit again? Or, like, we're gonna, I don't know, it just kind of feels like hollow, shallow, like, here's the Superboy you remember. Okay, why couldn't you just, like, progress the Superboy that you already had and do something interesting with him? And, like, maybe push him in that direction. Same thing with New 52 Superman. Why not just push him in the direction of being iconic, classic Superman? Like, instead, he gets replaced by, like, post-Crisis Superman, who also apparently prevented Crisis from happening in the first place. Maybe because they stopped the Anti-Monitor before Crisis can even happen. But then he also always existed in the 52 universe. It just creates a lot more problems. Just take the characters as they are even if you don't like them as they are, and you make them work. Again, that is the entire thesis behind Grant Morrison's run on Batman. Like, Grant Morrison comes onto that book and he's like, I do not like current Batman. I think current, like, post-animated series, post-Frank Miller, like, I'm Batman, and I'm always scowling. I'm on the Justice League, but I don't trust any of them. I'm a loader, and I'm mean, and I'm Batman, I'm vengeance. Like, Grant Morrison's like, that's some stupid bullshit. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fix it. And he just tells a story. And it works. And like, you see Batman like sort of unfurl his brow and go back to like what he was in like the 70s under like Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams and stuff like that. It's putting in the work for these characters. I think that's like infinitely more satisfying than just killing off a version of the character you don't like and then replacing them with a time displaced fan servicey version of that character. I think that's lazy and I think it's stupid. I think that's hack worthy. That's really hack worthy. Sorry, it is. It's lazy. But yeah, I don't know. To each his own. John Kent, Superboy gritty reboot, Brightburn, another evil Superman deconstruction written by James Gunn. Oh man, that would be painful. Supreme Omega says Wolverine is a better mentor to kid sidekicks than Batman. I can make a drinking game for all the abusive gaslighting shit he pulled on Tim, Steph, and Cass in the mid-2000s. It's as Grant Morrison said, Bruce was just having a midlife crisis. That's all it was. Just a superhero midlife crisis. He got better. Oh God. Jupiter's Legacy Super Sons by Matthew Vaughn and Mark Miller. I mean, we kind of already saw that in Multiversity, right? Isn't there like an issue of Multiversity where like Christopher Kent and Damian Wayne grow up and they're like best friends, and like TMZ's following them all around? Like, that was a fun status quo for a while, or as long as it lasted. I mean, it's not status quo, it's like part of the anthology, but like, that would have been a cool status quo if we didn't get New 52'd. How do you feel about the Inhumans no longer being used in Marvel Comics? Whatever. Like, yeah. It could work, but like, everything done with the Inhumans over the past like decade is just, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? And now they're just not relevant now, and it's what a shame. Jack Kirby's rolling in his grave. Sony Spider-Man prequel is just the trouble. Oh God. I mean, I want to see that, but oh God, it's awful. The Justice League would be fine. As a game, yeah, I think it would. You have Connor Kent Superboy as Superman right there. I mean, Connor Kent should have been the new Superman. He more than earned it. More so than John, I think. Superman 2, the child support payment saga, a TV movie sequel directed on the CW. Not if Bryan Singer got his way and Superman just murdered that baby. That would have been real dark. DC Rebirth. Hey, DC fans, do you remember Post-Crisis? Because we do. Yeah. Injustice 3, Donner fans versus Snyder fans, the dawn of fanboy crybaby warfare. Directed by corporate businessmen because fans will shill for it anyways. Stop being so accurate. I hate you. I hate that. DC Rebirth more convoluted than Post-Crisis ever was? Without a damn doubt it was. Superman gritty reboot. Baby crashes and dies on his way. Based. Based and Garth Ennis pilled. Yeah, Future's End did suck though, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Cross the Spider-Verse was pretty good. Like the movie? Yeah, the movie was really good. The comic sucks ass, but like the movie was good. Question: how do you fix Bart Tor from the New 52 Teen Titans? I didn't really read the New 52 Teen Titans, so I don't know. Just make him more like Bart. I guess I don't know. Make him more like Bart. Combining New 52 Superman and Post-Crisis Superman into one character is dumb and head scratching. It makes no sense. It's really dumb. X-Men gritty reboot. Edgy teenagers hit puberty, get superpowers, and are forced to mutant school for child soldiering to save fellow mutants. I mean, I would watch that. I'd watch the fuck out of that. Dude, yes. X-Men child soldiers, hell yes. I'm here for it. Good night, Tevya. In fact, I might go to bed soon too. But see, 1610 says New 52 Bartor, better off not being Barry's annoying grandson from the future alternate timeline convoluted mess. Oh, that sounds stupid. I hate that. Especially when Bart's just like a really interesting character in and of himself. John Ty says, that's one reason why I like the DC editorial aren't throwing away aged up John Kent and Alfred still being dead. This allows writers to build on what past writers have done. Yeah, you know, and Alfred's died like twice already. I guess the third time's the charm. And I'm okay with Alfred being dead. It's kind of like Aunt May being dead. Like, these people have been old for like damn near a century. Just let them go. Let them go. Although you can kill off John Kent. No one's making that kid work. Just get rid of him. He's annoying too. No one's gonna miss him when he dies. He just sucks. So he says, like Garth and stuff was with the boys. You know what? Bringing up the boys. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Would have been better as a game about the boys killing the Seven. The boys kill the Seven. It's way better. Plus, you could have the whole thing that they don't do in the show where they inject themselves with Compound V and they could just beat the ever-loving fuck out of these superheroes. I think that would have been like way cooler than like actually killing the Justice League. I don't know. I don't know. What was the thought process behind that? Like, who thought, yeah, DC fans are gonna love this? Who? I don't know. Whatever, dude. I don't want to scratch my head about that anymore. Um, we had to revive Alfred. We must sacrifice Red. Jason must die again. New 52 Alfred gritty reboot. Ex-mercenary turned bodyguard. That's just Earth 1. Try harder. On that note, yo, thanks for showing by, guys. Glad y'all can come by. Glad y'all could chat comics with me. Yeah, like I said, my favorite book of the week was definitely Black Panther, #1. To be fair, these are the only 2 books I read that were new this week. I didn't get a chance to read Captain Marvel or Shazam, #8, or Kneel Before Zod, #2. I'm gonna pick those up next week. What did I say tomorrow? But I'm gonna pick those up next week. I'm just like trying to save money for my Spider-Man costume, which, by the way, I finally got this bad boy in the mail. So I can like finally put the mask like on something instead of just having it like smush against my face and like be really uncomfortable. And I don't know. I can't wait to show you guys the costume. It's a process, but it is slowly coming together. Yeah, maybe like in the stream just before the con, I'll do it. But thanks for stopping by, guys. Can't wait to see y'all next week. And actually, I'll probably stream before then. I might like finish the Spider-Man game because that whole thing was frustrating. And I do want to finish that, guys, for you. I do want to finish that for you guys. But until next time, see you later. Hasta luego. Peace. Wait, hold on. Mystical Green Beanie. Gritty Reboot. The Beanie.